to się stało, że Lentol był tak wielkim polskim przyjacielem?
Lentol był przyjacielem, to się wychował na Greenpoincie całe swoje życie. Jego tato już był przyjacielem Polonii. On, myślę, bardziej się zżył z nami, żyjąc tutaj, uczestnicząc na wszystkie polskie wydarzenia. Naprawdę stał się takim naszym amerykańskim Polakiem. Urodzonym tutaj, ale taki jakby był z krwi i kości, prosto od nas z Polski. Zawsze wspierał wszystkie inicjatywy organizacyjne, wspierał polskie kościoły, wspierał budowę Kościuszko Bridge, wspierał budowę Kościuszko Monument. Wszystko, cokolwiek było robione, Square Popiełuszki, wszystko dzięki temu, że mieliśmy jego w Albanii i byliśmy w stanie to osiągnąć dzięki jemu głosowi i walce dla Polonii.
No, jak sam dzisiaj powiedział, mimo że już nie jest posłem stanowym, to dalej pomaga, tak?
Tak, dalej pomaga, oczywiście, nawet teraz możemy się do niego zwrócić. Dalej ma swoich znajomych w Albanii, dalej ma swoich przyjaciół, ma bardzo duże doświadczenie w załatwianiu różnych projektów, czyli zawsze powiedział, jest zawsze otwartą dłonią dla Polonii, dla Greenpointu, dla całego CB1, w którym się teraz znajdujemy. Dla mnie Joe, przyjaciel, taki father figure, jest moim sąsiadem, mieszkamy obok siebie od ostatnich 20 kilku lat. Jest częścią mojej rodziny, bardzo prywatnie, jesteśmy bardzo dobrymi przyjaciółmi. Tak jak mówię, nigdzie on nie odchodzi, dalej z nami tutaj jest. Miejmy wiarę, że będzie z nami przez wiele następnych lat. Artur Rybanowski, past president of Pulaski Business Association of Business and Professional Men.
Well, we are here today honoring Joe Lynchen in our community, a leader in our community, a great assemblyman for over 4 decades, and we're naming this post office after him here in the cradle of the Polish community in America. We're so proud of the Polish community, the Polish Day Parade, and may I thank the people of Poland for opening their borders and welcoming the Ukrainians as guests and treating them with honor and respect. The whole world is watching, and the whole world is inspired by the bravery and the beauty of the Polish people. This is Congresswoman Maloney saying thank you on behalf of the people I represent.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
And the Polish community should know that Carolyn Maloney has always been there for them. When it came to the issue of NATO, she was there. She was the one fighting for Poland to be in NATO when they weren't letting them in. So a lot of people don't remember that. So when she's running, don't forget.
1, 2, 3. Yay. Okay.
And now right here, Senator, right here, please.
We really thank the Polish people. When their Ukrainian brothers and sisters are being slaughtered by the evil Putin, Poland and the Polish people have stood up. So we say, God bless you and Viva Polska.
Lentol jest bardzo ważny dla Polonii. Był cały czas. Ja z nim pracowałam od lat 72. Bardzo dużo pomógł rozbudować wszystkie parki i różne inne rzeczy. I w dalszym ciągu nam pomaga bez przerwy. Moje imię jest Krystyna Holowacz.
Thank you very much.
You go to the hundreds of
Yes.
Polish events, you help with the bridge. How you feel?
And we got the statue of Kosciuszko, right?
And we work on another project, yeah, if you remember.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Queen's Project.
Yeah.
With Christine Halavac is helping me with that.
Can you say a couple of words how important it was for you personally work with Polish community?
Well, I'm going to miss working for the Polish community because they really have become the backbone of what was strong about Greenpoint. They came to Greenpoint at a time when it really needed to be rebuilt and revived. And they opened up shops and they opened up businesses, and really Greenpoint thrived especially after Solidarność, when the Polish people came to Greenpoint. And it's very important for the community around who are new and don't understand this history and the contributions that were made by the Polish people who continue to live here, even though it's expensive. And so I just want to tip my hat, if I had one and I was wearing one, to the Polish Americans who still continue to live in Greenpoint and Williamsburg. We owe them a lot.
I know, even when you lost your daughter as an assemblyman, you're still helping us.
Yes.
I understand the Polish guys still come to you, call you, and can you help us?
It's not only the Polish ones that call me either. Everybody calls me. I don't think they get such good results from some of the people who have taken over the political leadership in Greenpoint. But I'm happy to do it if I can. I'm retired, but you know, if somebody really needs help, they'll get it.
Well, it's not easy to name a post office. I had to put in a bill. I had to get over 215 co-sponsors. We passed the House, we passed the Senate. It was signed into law by the President of the United States, and now we have the post office named. So it took many, many steps.
Joey, how are you, my friend?
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Welcome the Senator!
Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi.
Here to announce the official renaming of the Greenpoint Post Office to the Joseph R. Lentol Post Office. I have known Joe and his partner Martha for decades, back to the time when I worked for the New York State Assembly and at one point was a lobbyist for the Board of Ed. And
She lobbied me for the libraries when I was remember that?
Yeah, we were kids. They were both outstanding members of the New York State Assembly, and we worked together for many issues there. And here in Brooklyn, Joe, as you know, was the chairman of the Codes Committee, and he wrote the laws preventing gun violence in our state, some of the strongest in the whole country, for all of our environmental justice, for the Kosciuszko Bridge, Bushwick Inlet Park, all of these other projects that we all worked together on. I am thrilled that I was able to pass it in the House, but in the Senate it's really hard. The Senator made it, with Senator Gillibrand, a priority and got it through. So we are so excited that we're able to name
Even
this
Joe
post-
Manchin voted for it.
Hey! But that was here from our great senator. He's from Brooklyn. So he represents Brooklyn, but he's also representing the whole country in the fights that we have with Republicans, which are every day, every second. He's doing an incredible job for all of us on the issues we care about in our neighborhoods. Senator Schumer from Brooklyn.
First senator ever elected from Brooklyn. First one ever.
Wow.
And first majority leader from New York. Okay, so we're here today to honor a legend, a Greenpoint legend, Mr. Joe, but the people I like, I have nicknames for. I've always called him Joey. And I want to tell you a story. So I was 23 years old. I ran against the Democratic machine. And I was the first person to beat the machine down in South Brooklyn. And Southern Brooklyn, you know, Sheepshead Bay, Kings Highway, Coney Island, places like that. And when I got up there, you know, it was run by people who, the machines were still very, very powerful in those days. And, you know, they'd be glower, what's he doing? He beat our guy, blah, blah, blah. Joe Lentol had been there 4 years. I got there in '74, you got there in 1970?
No, 72.
72, so he'd been
years.
there 2 years. He was from the Democratic machine, but he went out of his way to be nice to me, to help me learn the ropes, make me feel that I was at home, and all of that. And it just showed what a nice, nice person he was. He wasn't chairman of anything, man. You had to be around for about 20 years before you got to be a chairman. Who was chairman of Codes in those days?
Don DiCarlo.
Right, Dominic DiCarlo, conservative
Remember, it
Republican
was
from Bay Ridge.
controlled, by the Republicans.
Yeah,
until
that's right,
75.
until '75. Anyway, he was always nice to me. And the one thing you know about Joe, he has his community in his bones. He loves this area. He walks the streets of it. He's just part of it. You know, you can't say Lentol without saying Greenpoint, and you can't say Greenpoint without saying Lentol, because he cares so much about the community, and he's done so many different things in this area. The waterfront, which now I've been working on as well, along with Carolyn, who I'll talk about in a minute. He's done criminal justice reform to make sure that people who were wrongly convicted had a chance, and I'm continuing that work. In fact, I just nominated Nina Morrison.
She's wonderful.
She's head of the Innocence Project to go on the federal bench. She'll be one of our federal judges here in the Eastern District of Brooklyn. So that's something. And another thing that we shared in common, the post office is around their back. So it's really appropriate that we're here today. This is the first postal naming that I'm aware of in New York State after the postal reform bill passed. So let me just say in conclusion that naming a post office after Joe is a great thing to do. What better monument to Joe's legacy of day in, day out service for this community than a post office? Something that's reliable and something the community needs and depends on. So let's have a round of applause.
The Post Office General from Brooklyn, come on up, and then we'll hear from our wonderful Joe.
Joey.
Joey.
That's what I call him.
They call me Uncle Joe now.
Uncle Joe. They call me Grandpa.
All right, thank you, Congresswoman. It's a privilege to join you all today. Since 1967, Congress passed a law dedicating a post office facility in honor of an individual. Since then, thousands of post offices across this nation have been dedicated to honor American heroes and those who have had profound impacts on their communities. The post office delivers for America and also serves as a living testament of our nation's history. Through our stamp program and through the federal dedication of our buildings, we weave heroes into the fabric of the greater American tapestry. As such, we are often the heart of the very communities that we serve. Just like Joseph Lentol is a vital part of Brooklyn, so too is USPS, a vital part of our nation. Delivering for America has been our mission for 246 years. To ensure a viable future, the Postmaster General charted a course for the Post Office 10-year Delivering for America plan. In just 1 year, we have had passed a bipartisan Postal Reform Act, thanks in large part to Senator Schumer and Congresswoman Maloney. Thank you for that. We have advanced on $40 billion of investments of USPS facilities and infrastructures, streamline our organizational structure to maximize operational precision, adopted new services standards to improve reliability of mail and package delivery, and converted nearly 63,000 employees into career roles.
Yay!
As we march into the future of the Postal Service, we will continue to serve America. As Postmaster of Brooklyn, it is truly a privilege to bring the remarkable story of Assemblymember Joseph R. Lentol along with us into our future. In a way, Joseph R. Lentol Post Office Building will help to redefine what service means for Greenpoint. His name and legacy will anchor us on another example of what it truly means to deliver for America. Through our facility, we will celebrate forever dedicated public servant, Brooklynite advocate, former Assembly member Joseph R. Lentol. With it, we will continue our work and secure a postal service for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll hear from our beloved neighbor, friend, Assemblyman. 3 generations. What a legacy he brought to this office. What a legacy he's given of service and love for this community. Joe Lentol, who now has a post office named after
him. So let me just say this. I have my family here today. I have
Raise your
a lot
hands,
of
Joe
friends.
family. Isn't that nice? It's a nice, beautiful family.
I
Thank you.
have a lot of friends, a lot of relatives, and a lot of people that I've known just over the years from our community that I love, that I've served for a long time, 48 years. I can't believe it. Actually, Carolyn talked about my father, I thought that he served a long time. He served 24 years. So I just doubled him. But the first thing I have to say is this. I want to thank our Congresswoman for thinking about me after I was so unceremoniously retired and deciding to do this. And she knew that she could get the bill passed in the House, and it was a piece of cake in the House, because of course you know that, like the House members, I'm a Democrat like she is. But the Senate, that was the problem. Just like we know, and some of you who watch the news know, that it's a little bit of an issue with passing legislation that right now is needed for our country. And I'm glad that we have my friend, my colleague, Senator Schumer, as the majority leader of the Senate there. He was a star when he came to Albany after only a couple of years. They made him chairman of the investigations committee. They did. I think he ran the place. And the only problem is that when you speak somewhere or whatever it is with Senator Schumer, he takes the whole oxygen out of the room because he's so good. And believe me, I love him because he was able to work this bill like magic. And all of a sudden it happened, and Carolyn was pleased, and I was pleased. And
Carolyn kept calling me to make sure I did it.
And before I forget, not to electioneer, but a lot of people told me that they're very upset that I lost the election. I said, that's water over the bridge. We have an opportunity now to re-elect someone in the Congress that is one of the greatest Congress people to serve in the United States of America. And I want you to tell all your friends and family about it, because we have to do that. So, Carolyn Maloney. And let me say this. It's my intention to work closely with the postmaster and to work with the post office. And, you know, I still, even though I'm out of office, get a lot of emails, a lot of texts, and yes, I even get some snail mail, as they call it. I don't like to call it here in front of you, but okay. I think you've heard it. It's okay. However, having said that, there are some issues of modernization for this Greenpoint post office that people have already told me about. And they think that I'm in charge of it. You are. And so I am going to depend upon you and upon the Congress to appropriate the funds necessary to modernize our post office, to make it the best post office in the United States of America. How's that sound? And so before I forget, Senator Schumer also has an election this year. And I don't want you to forget him, because without him, this country and the president would really be damned. And I know that it's going to be a close call for re-electing a Democratic Congress. But if we don't elect a Democratic Congress, it's really going to be bad for this country, because they are the only folks. My father taught me a big lesson. The Republicans are for business, and the Democrats are for the working class. Right. That was true then, and it's true now. And I'm glad that my friend Peter Abadi came, because he's the chair of the Government Employees Committee, who works for the working stiffs of the state of New York. Peter, why don't you take a bow for everybody so they know who you are. So So with that, my friends, I really appreciate the fact that you came here today, and my family came from all over the country to be with me today. And I certainly won't let you down, because one of the things that I did when I was in office was to go after, and you may know this or you may not know it, to go after the Williamsburg post office, because I represent Williamsburg as well. And that was really, they were really terrible, and you probably know that from the letters that the post office got. So the same thing is going to be true now that I'm out of office, because I got to tell you something, people think I'm still the assemblyman. They don't know who the person is who represents this community. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm not angry that the people decided to elect somebody else. People wanted change, and they got change. Now, however, as Chuck will tell you and Peter will tell you, this job is a tough one in representing people in public office. And you have to be able to know exactly what you're doing in order to get legislation passed, in order to get money for individual groups that want it, and especially to get money for parks and playgrounds, like I was able to do in my tenure. We got 2 parks as a result of Joe Lentol and Carolyn Maloney's influence in this neighborhood, Bushwick Inlet Park and the East River State Park. Oh, and I forgot to talk about Under the Bridge Park that the governor gave us. So the 3 parks.
Kingsland.
Yes.
With federal money.
Federal money. And so we're not bragging. We're telling you what it means to be in government and how it counts to have the right person there. And these 2 people here are the right people for the job. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe.
Everybody, we're gonna take a picture.
We gotta open this up.
There you go.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. All right. Bravo.
Great.
Great.
Beautiful. By an act of Congress, public law.
Makeshift flag that the Postmaster General's bringing. That's what you took a
I
picture
know
with.
why you did a makeshift.
1, 2, 3. Yay. Okay.
All right, and now right here, Senator, right here, please.
Want to get in there? Sure. Get in there. Holy fellows!
By the way, I started to serve when we were in the minority. Everybody know what that means? No. The Assembly was all Republican majority, the Senate, and the governor was a Republican. Everybody says, oh, this is a great Democratic state now. Well, in 1973, when I first ran, it wasn't Democratic. And I had to earn my stripes. I couldn't get a bill passed in the Assembly until I decided that there has to be a way to get a bill. And no freshman Democrat had ever gotten a bill passed. I didn't forget about him. He's the sweetest guy you ever want to meet. He's the district leader. Don't forget Brooke.
Don't forget Brooke.
Anyway, I am so grateful that everybody came out today. He became the assemblyman. I had a wonderful brother, and now his son is here to pay respect to his uncle. And Cindy, his wife, and